this week we are going to multiply radical expressions. So whenever you multiply the like terms together. So you can multiply the numbers on the outside of the radical, and you can multiply the numbers on the inside of the radical. So for this first example, we have 3 square root of 3 times 5 square root of 8. This also can be written with parentheses as 3 square root of 3 times 5 square root of 8. And what you are going to want to do is multiply the outside numbers together and then multiply the radicals together. So you should end up with 3 times 5, which is 15. And then the square root of 3 times the square root of 8 is the square root of 24. Now, this is not your final answer because the square root of 24 can be broken down. So whenever we go to break down the square root of 24, you get 4 and 6. 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. Circling my 2's, boxing my 6, and I get 2 square root of 6. And then I have to bring down that 15. So my answer ends up being 30 square root of 6. Okay, for the next one, you can rewrite this as 2 square root of 6 times 7 square root of 3 with the parentheses. You're going to multiply the 2 and the 7 together and get 14, and then multiply the square root of 6 and the square root of 3 together and get square root of 18. The square root of 18 can be broken down into 9 and 2. The 9 can be broken down into 3 and 3. Circle the 3's, box the 2, and I get 3 square root of 2. And then I got to bring that 14 down, and 14 times 3 is 42. So my answer is 42 square root of 2. Okay, my next example is using the distributive property. So let me write that down. Okay, so whenever we want to distribute the square root of 3, square root of 3 times the square root of 7 is square root of 21. And then whenever we distribute the square root of 3 to the second term, you end up with square root of 3 times 3 square root of 2. You can only multiply together the square root of 3 and the square root of 2. So you end up getting 3 square root of 6. Now looking at that, if you can break it down any further, the square root of 21 or the square root of 6, you would want to, but in this case you can't. Okay, for the next problem, I'm going to distribute the 3. The 3 can multiply together with the 2 because they are the like terms on the outside, so I end up getting 6. You cannot multiply together the 3 and the square root of 6 because those are not like terms, so it would just remain square root of 6. Then I'm going to multiply together the 3 and the 4 and get 12 square root of 7. You can't do anything else with that, so that problem is finished. And that is how you multiply radicals with the distributive property and multiplying like terms.